Leinster fight back despite Healy seeing red. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. First versus second clash at the RDS, and both teams had a lot of their Irish contingent back for this one. Not quite full squads, but you had the likes of Keenan, Ringrose, Lowe coming back from injury, Gibson Park, Kelleher was starting ahead of Sheehan. You had Ryan in the second row, Baird playing 6, and Van der Fleer and Conan finishing out the back row as well there. Pretty stacked bench as well, with the likes of Furlong and Porter on there to come on as well, and Doris too for Leinster. For Ulster then, again, pretty much, close to full strength, but a smattering of maybe less experienced players in there as well. But they still had like centres with Hume and McCluskey, really good centre pairing there. Cooney and Burns at 9 and 10 would be the normal starters as well there. Kieran Treadwell coming back from Ireland duty. Tom Stewart favoured ahead of Herring to start at hooker. And then also Ian Henderson back playing 6. So kind of interesting with two kind of hybrid back row / second row players in himself and Baird, both playing 6 as well there. And they also had Nick Timney there in the back row. Marcus Ray has been impressive there at 7 too. And then again, a pretty stacked bench from them too. You had Herring on there, Dwayne Vermeulen, Doak, Stockdale. Yeah, overall, two very good teams facing off against each other. And you could see that in like the start of the game, like actually most of the game was pretty frenetic pace. Neither team really wanted to slow stuff down. They both wanted quick ball, and they were trying to keep the ball in play as well. So we probably saw, at least it felt like that, probably the ball and play time was probably higher for this game than you would normally see for a URC game. Ulster felt started off probably the better of the two sides. Leinster are making a lot of mistakes, but it's Leinster who go ahead. Ross Byrne penalty after about 3 minutes. He pops it over. Ulster were pinged at the breakdown. I think it was not rolling away or not supporting away, one of those, but he pops it over 3-0 to Leinster. But Ulster, at that time, they have good running lines and they're finding space as well, but it's just that final ball is kind of letting them down in the opening few minutes. But you can see that they can open this Leinster defence. Then Ulster get a penalty at the scrum. Healy went to ground. The scrum was kind of back and forth throughout the game. Like there was, I think, one where Leinster kind of almost walked over Ulster in the scrum, but they kind of went back and forth. So Cooney then pops over the penalty from that scrum. I said Healy was the one that gave it away, and we're at 3-3. Leinster kind of, they're not really in the rhythm. They're kind of making mistakes, and kind of more mistakes than you'd normally expect from Leinster, because they're generally a well-drilled team, and maybe it's like players just coming back and not, slotting in seamlessly as you would normally expect them to. But they win another. They then win a scrum penalty actually, and they decide to go quickly from it. But kind of the pass to Gibson Park wasn't very sympathetic, so he knocks it on. It's just kind of an example of kind of the errors they were making at that stage. Then we're at about 20 minutes, and probably the big talking point of the game is Cian Healy getting sent off. So watching it live, I saw the clash between him and Tom Stewart, and just kind of the camera moved away from it quickly. But I thought, even when I saw it first time, was like Healy seemed a bit upright in the tackle, and they're probably going to come back and look at it. Play went on for a minute or two, but they did come back to look at it. And then when you saw it on the replay, you can see Healy is completely upright in the tackle. There's a lot of force, and there's no kind of mitigation in terms of like Stewart, didn't suddenly change body height or his direction or anything like that. So I think it was pretty much a deserved red card for that. We've seen a lot of them through the year in the in the tests and in the URC as well. So, and players know by now that that type of tackle really you're taking chances by doing it, by not lowering your tackle height. So I think it was a pretty much deserved red card for Healy there. And I have to say, as a Leinster fan, I was thinking, oh no, we're in trouble now, because Ulster were already looking good, as I said before then. So Stewart then has to go off, and Rob Herring comes on from him, and he scores the first try then from a driving maul. So the penalty that comes from that, Ulster kicked it into the Leinster half, and then they went for the driving maul. Ulster's maul is really good, and Leinster kind of found it difficult at times to stop them. Other times they were able to, but certainly when Ulster had their tails up, they were making good yards with their maul. This one, again, no real mistake from Ulster. They kept the ball back with Herring. They drove over. He dots down. Cooney then converts it, so we're 10-3 after 22 minutes. Then we have the first scrum since Healy's been sent off. So Leinster take off Jimmy O'Brien and replace him with Porter. And like Porter's some man to be able to bring off the bench, like the starting loose head for Ireland comes on. So obviously you're not really losing anything in terms of the loose head with him coming on, but still you're a man down. Josh van der Fleer then is moved to the wing, or at least he's like spending some of the time on the wing with O'Brien off. Then we get another high tackle. This time it's just a seatbelt one from Ross Byrne. Ulster decide to kick to the corner. They're not looking to win this one in threes at this stage. And they initially, like, Leinster do well to kind of halt them all, and they're keeping Ulster out, but you can see that it's a big effort to keep them out. And eventually Treadwell is able to go over. Like, he's really come on this year, and he just had the power there to get himself over. Cooney then adds on the extras there, 17-3 to Ulster, and they're being completely ruthless. So they're being the way that we normally see Leinster with positions like this, where every time they come into your 22, they're leaving with a score, and that's the way Ulster are at the minute. Leinster then have a little bit of a rally, but Ulster kind of able to soak up the pressure, and they force a turnover. They strike straight away. Moore bursts up the wing. Conan was out there defending for Leinster, and he's just able to do him on the outside for pace. Then they draw the last defender and send McElroy away. The third try for Ulster there. Cooney misses the conversion, but they're 22-3 up, and it really is looking ominous for Leinster, thinking like, how are they going to come back from this? Because if Ulster continue playing like this, is going to be, a big score for them. It just looked only a matter of time before they were going to get the bonus point, and then maybe you could see Leinster coming back and making the score look a bit respectable towards the end. That's the way it was at that point anyway. But Leinster, they do start again to apply some pressure, but everything keeps breaking down. They're coughing the ball up to Ulster. Ulster defence is looking strong. and you kind of feel like we're getting towards halftime. You kind of feel if Leinster are going to have any chance, they need to get something on the board for them to build on for the second half. They get a penalty. It's under seatbelt tackle by McCluskey this time, and clock's just gone into the red as the penalty is awarded. And you might think, like, another team might decide, okay, let's take 3 and regroup at half time and then see, how we're going to handle it in the second half. But Leinster go to the corner. They decided they're going to drive the line out, and they go over. Ulster can't keep them out. Kelleher at the back, he scores. Byrne adds on the extras there with 22-10 at half time. Still, though, looking good for Ulster, even though Leinster did manage to rally in the last few minutes of the half. Leinster then, at the start of the second half, they kind of making mistakes again. Ulster putting on the pressure on them, and they give away a penalty for holding on. But Ulster really can't make anything of it. Leinster are able to disrupt their line out as they kick up the line, and they're able to clear. Then we have another big talking point of the game where Leinster are kind of breaking out of their own half. James Lowe is carrying, and he runs into Cooney. Now, initially, it looks like Lowe kind of has his free arm. He's carrying the ball in his left arm, and his right is tucked in. But as he hits Cooney, he hits Cooney in the head with his non-carrying arm, and it looks like his arm kind of extends out. Now, whether that's something natural or not, I can't really tell you. But they do have a look at it, and the play went on for maybe like 15-20 seconds, but then the referee had to bring it back because Cooney was very noticeably, in distress. So they come back. Cooney is off then. He looks badly hurt. It looked like he was maybe knocked out as he was going to ground. So Doak is on for him. You could see where, you could see an argument there for Lowe, maybe a penalty or a yellow to Lowe for that. And I can also see in the future where once they sort out the player on the tackling side of the ball, where they're going to come and address this as well with the carrier, where, this kind of thing is maybe in the future is going to be less acceptable than it is today. But that's something for maybe after the next World Cup, they're probably going to start looking at stuff like that in a kind of more stringent way, the way they are now on the tackling side of things. But as I said, Cooney's off, big blow for Ulster because he's been a big part of how well they're doing. Then Leinster then kind of turned the screw a little bit. Porter wins a penalty at the breakdown. Leinster kicked to the corner. They got to drive them all. Ulster, though, are able to stop them completely dead. And Ulster actually force a penalty. They're able to clear, but you can see that Leinster have improved in the second half. But it's just that Ulster defence, at that time at least, is holding strong, is keeping them out. We then have a big hit from Lowe, and that really gets the crowd going in the RDS. Keenan then makes a burst up the middle from a quick throw. We get a penalty to Leinster coming out of that. They go into the corner. Henderson at this stage, he goes off for Ulster, but like Leinster are building pressure. They're picking, going close to the line. They are making meters, but they're not quite getting over. So they decide to go to the back line. The ball gets to Ringrose. He dances his way over, lovely steps, and goes over pretty close to the post. Is converted for 22-17 with about 20 minutes to go. Then the TMO calls the referee's attention, and we see as Ringrose, when he's stepping, there's head-on-head contact with Hume. And there is like high degree of danger. There's force there, but there is mitigation because Ringrose, there's significant change in direction from him as he steps. So that mitigates it down from a red to a yellow. Again, I think the referee got this one spot on as well. I'm sure that there were some one-eyed Leinster supporters looking for a red card out of that one, but no, I don't see it there. I think the referee, again, he got a spot on there. So Leinster putting on more like pressure on Ulster again, really turning up the heat on them. Ringrose steps his way over again for his second try of the game. Leinster got in that position because they had a maul that basically just charged up the field and Ulster just couldn't stop it, compared to the way they were handling the Leinster maul in the first half. Complete turnaround now. In the second half, Timney gets yellow carded for bringing that maul down as well. So for about 5 or 6 minutes, we're 14-13. Men for Leinster actually have a man extra for a few minutes. At that point as well, the tries converted, so it's 24-22. Leinster hit the lead, and the first time since really the third minute when Ross Byrne put them ahead. It's long time since then, and the game has completely changed as well. Huge swing in momentum back to Leinster now in the second half, and Ulster seem to be kind of treading water really, and don't really know how to stop the Leinster juggernaut that's coming at them. Leinster are beginning to put the pressure on Ulster when they have the ball as well. They manage to turn it over, and they attack from their own 22. It's kicked upfield, and there's a great chase as well from Leinster, and Moore is bundled into touch. Another one to really get the crowd going there as well. And the crowd really played the part, I feel, in this one too. They really, got Leinster fired up. Leinster, then they worked their way up to get a 5 meter line out. They set the maul, and the maul makes some yards, but it's halted, so they switch it out to Baird on the peel. He's got good pace and he's got good size as well, so he makes yards. And then they recycle a few times, and Porter is able to go over for another Leinster try. That's converted by Byrne, and we're at 31-22. There's about 6 minutes to go. Ulster now are back to 15. And, they're going on the hunt for at least a losing bonus point try. But again, Leinster are able to turn them over. They burst up the wing. Doris with a good carry. He goes close. They then spin the ball out to Lowe. Lowe goes over in the corner. That one's converted. It's 38-22. And, at that stage then, the game was kind of gone for Ulster, but they do get the final say. With about a minute to go, Sam Carter, he goes over for Ulster. They get their try bonus point. You felt that was going to happen a lot earlier than that, but it was such an amazing second half comeback by Leinster that they really didn't get a sniff until then. But he goes over, Doak converts. Final score is 38-29. I feel like this one, it's a really big blow for Ulster because there's no doubting the talent in that team and the grit that they have in the forwards. I think they've got an excellent pack and a great blend with the backs as well. There's plenty of skill in the backs, and they work really well as a unit too. But there's just that little bit. I've talked about it before with Ulster. There's just that something is missing there for them to be able to get that next step that will let them win really significant games like this, whether it's going to be like a game like this in the regular season, or it's going to be like a big European tie, or it's going to be the knockout stages at the URC at the end of the season. they just haven't produced that one kind of big win where you can say that's the turning point for this team. And I feel like the team is talented enough that there's a good chance that it is going to come at some stage this season, but this wasn't the one for them. And until they can make that step, I feel like they're going to be kind of the bridesmaid, always a bridesmaid and never the bride kind of thing for them, that they're going to miss out on the silverware until they can produce something like that, probably in the knockout stages of whether it's going to be Europe or the URC playoffs at the end of the season. For Leinster, like you see why they're top of the pile with that performance. A lot of teams going down to 14, and just the way Ulster took them apart as well and built that lead. You see heads dropping for, as I said, for a lot of other teams, and maybe Ulster getting a big score up and then Leinster scoring a few tries towards the end and it being like, 40 odd to 20 odd or something like that is a lot of the way a lot of these games would end. But like the top teams, even with a man down, are able to produce what Leinster did in the second half. But it's something exceptional. And again, it's something that like Leinster had to do previously to be able to do it again. I feel like that. And that's where the mental side of things comes in, I think, is when Leinster went down and when they were there like at half time, they had experiences of being able to turn games around from the past, and they're able to draw on that, I feel, and produce what they did in the second half. It wasn't like a bolt out of the blue that Leinster were able to do this. Like, I think if you were to pick a handful of teams that would be able to turn a game around like that, Leinster would be one of the teams that you're going to pick because they have that kind of mindset for it. And I think like Ulster aren't far away from doing, similar things. As I said, they have all the talent that you could wish for, but it's just the mental side of things for them at the minute. But they're going to have opportunities to build that side of things for them, I feel, in the future. But this one was a cracking game to watch and really good advertisement for the URC as well. And, I'm looking forward to seeing how now both teams going into Europe, how they're going to go there, and how, like Ulster, I feel like they need a response from this defeat and really show what they can do in Ulster. Leinster are looking good, like they're 8 from 8 in the league, and going into the the European Cup. It's called the Heineken Cup because it's been called that for so long. But going in there, they're looking good, but they're going to want to put down a marker in Europe as well.